Chain games, to buy or not to buy? That is the question we're going to be exploring in this video. I'm Joanna Garzilli. This is Crypto Angel Network. I have just found some critical news, and I think it's really important, and it will be very helpful for you to watch, whether you already own chain games or you're looking to get into the project. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let me get into this. I'm going to take you into my coin tracker here. So this is where I just get to, see all my transactions, and I do this to get ready for my taxes. This means I just don't have to deal with a nightmare when I'm filing on TurboTax. And this software you can only use as a US citizen. And I do like this software a lot. I will say it's been great overall. I have had a couple of challenges with it, and that if I get a token that is not on Coinbase, or it's something with a much smaller fraction, that sometimes they don't have the unit price or the cost basis show up. But when I've reached out on Twitter and said I'm having a challenge with this, they've been pretty good and fixed that quickly. So here you can see on April the 8th, I went and bought on Gate.io. You can see a number of transactions here that I did buying chain. And I'll take you also into my Gate.io afterwards, but you'll see here that I ended up with a whole load of tokens. Actually, let's hop over so that you can get an idea of what I had here in total. You can see it made me do it all because it's not a big marketplace for chain games. And so you can see here, I bought on an average around 49.5 points because there just wasn't the volume there. Because Uniswap is the place where you can get chain games the most. I bought at 49.5, 50 cents. You'll see a whole load of transactions here. And I ended up with 4,001 chain games token. I was very, very excited about this. But you're going to also see here, sort of giving it away, that I did end up selling my tokens yesterday. And I did sell. I decided to go upside down. I believe if I had held on, if I had decided to have, as people refer to in crypto, diamond hands, that yes, I could take a profit on it. But I've just decided to sell, and you're going to see why in a moment. And I did take a small loss, but I feel like the short-term loss is worth it for me to feel more comfortable of what I went into next. So I sold upside down. I sold at, you'll see her at 40 cents 97. So like around 41 cents and bought. So if we go back to my coin tracker here, you're going to see that I took a loss, which is a harvestable tax loss of $470.34. Now, I was very, very bullish on chain games because my son is he's into gaming, and he is a massive fan of Fortnite. His channel, by the way, is Dominic's World. And so, I've just seen this whole craze of Fortnite and how Epic Games has grown. And my son also plays Apex Legends, and he plays MLB The Show. And gaming is a huge industry. Year over year, it is getting bigger and bigger. And that was why I felt very excited about going to chain games. I thought this is a no-brainer. And you can see on the 30-day, chain games has had gains of 255%. Its all-time low. I mean, it was only going in from 4 months ago. It was 0.009 cents. It had an all-time high of $1.03. And so when I looked at going into this, and I'd seen that there had been a correction of around, just under 50%. I thought, this is a great token to get into. This makes sense. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to hold on to it for at least for several months. And because gaming, it's a no-brainer. But what I'm about to point out to you is, again, I'm going to show you why I sold, why. I think the team for this is a great team. The Adam Barlam, who is the founder of Chain Games, is also I think he's the CTO of TrustSwap, which is a fantastic launch pad. And they're doing a lot of amazing projects, including one of them is Modify, which is a token that is currently available on Uniswap and is projected to do super, super well. So I came over to Chain Games, and by the way, their site was down briefly yesterday. It's obviously, you can see it's back now. And I started to look and I thought, wow, okay, I can see here they got Apex Legends happening because my son plays this a lot. And I was really stoked. And I started to look. When I had originally gone to buy this, you had right at the beginning here, you had Fortnite coming on March the 31st. And we can see here what's left now. So Fortnite is no longer on here. But my decision for going and getting into chain games was because my understanding, the way that this was put out there, is that chain games had a partnership with Epic Games for Fortnite. And this is where I think one has to be very careful and do due diligence in terms of, chain games could say, oh, well, we didn't say we have a partnership, but they were saying this is what's going to be available. And the way I looked at that of when we, for example, like Harmony 1 has a partnership with Travala. And that is a specific partnership. Or Harmony 1 had a partnership with Atari for a special NFT for collectibles, these NFTs that they had been released. It was an actual part, and Animoca brand. It was a specific partnership. But what I've learned here that is really important to take in, that chain games did not have a partnership with Epic Games. They did not have a partnership. And you can see here that, look, these are the games that here it says Apex Legends coming soon. But I'm going to get into why I'm concerned about if Apex Legends will end up being on here, that may not happen. And I know that FIFA 21 testnet is live. But for me to stay in chain games, I need to know that Fortnite is on there because it's such a massive part of the gaming industry. And what you will see here is that how chain games works is that they do esports tournaments where you can go, you can do bets. And again, so here are the partners here, but Epic Games is not a partner. And actually they, what I'm going to show you in a sec, they are not even allowed to mention Epic Games. So let me get into that. Let me just take a step here and just get into that. So here, let me just hop over here and we're going to go over to Twitter. And what happened was, if you look up for Chain Games Fortnite, Chain Games here, this was their pinned tweet, and it said, "We have been working feverishly on our Fortnite implementation, Chain Gang, and are proud to announce a go live date for our testnet version will be March 31st for internal beta and April 3rd for public testnet release. Who is ready to frag some bodies and win some crypto?" And so this was why I went and got Chain Games and put in, what did I put in the end? I think I put into, it was around $2,000 that I put in here, and then I went upside down, like I said, $470. So coming back over here, this was the news that I went in on. If you go, let's go over to latest here, and Hoddle Chain Games asks the question here, "Hey Sheldon Evans," which I love Sheldon's channel. I absolutely love it. And I had come across Chain Games from Sheldon as well. I know that Ivan on Tech has talked about Chain Guardians, and I think they do very, very similar things. Chain Games has a larger market cap. Anyway, so Hoddle Chain Games says, "Hey Sheldon Evans, can you give us an update on Chain Games? They banned me on Twitter and Telegram for asking them a question about EA Sports suing them, similar to Epic Games and Fortnite. I put a lot of my investment because of you." Well, let me just first of all say that no one should ever, each one of us has to do our own due diligence. You can't, or whether it's Sheldon Evans, whether it's BitBoy, whether it's Crypto, Carl the Moon, or whoever that YouTube influencer is, we cannot blame someone else and say, "Oh, well, because of what you said, I went and bought that token and now I'm losing money because of you." And at the same time, let's say, for example, you hear a certain crypto YouTuber talk about something, you decide to go into it, you make gains, and you say, "Oh, wow, thanks BitBoy, thanks Sheldon, I made these great gains because of you." No, you made the gains because of you. You are doing your due diligence. You're doing your research from a combination of YouTube, from a combination to looking at white papers, to just looking at what the news is out there. And it is critical that you do your own due diligence. So whether you make a whole load or whether you lose a whole load, each one of us has to take personal responsibility. Like I'm saying, I know that whatever decision I make, it's my decision because I'm the one that is hitting the buy or the sell button for my trades with my money. And I have to know that when I go into crypto or any type of investment vehicle, that there is I could get massive gains and I could lose everything. So if you are new to crypto, it is absolutely critical you understand that. And that I would say that golden rule is take responsibility. That is so vitally important. All right, so let me just go over here and show you because, look, Sheldon has such a massive channel. He's so huge and he hasn't replied here to this. And let's go over here. We're over on Reddit. Reddit is a great resource because people are really clued in there on what's happening. And here is the post. Epic contacted Chain Games to take Fortnite down. And this post, if you go to Chain Games on Twitter, this is no longer there. This post isn't there. It says Chain Games, and I'll explain why about that in a moment too. Chain Games says, we have been contacted by Epic Games and unfortunately had to remove support for Fortnite. This doesn't affect any other games on our platform, and we will continue to add a plethora of titles moving forward, both tier 1 and proprietary, that we develop. All right, so what's really important with this is that this tweet that was here, if you actually go over to Twitter on Chain Games, I think we're going to see that you can't even see, like you're going to see that tweet was deleted. That tweet ended up, it ended up getting, let's see if I can find it there. If I can't, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but basically it was removed. The tweet was removed because Epic Games said Chain Games, you can't even mention. It's not okay for you to go and even and talk about us online. If you do, we're coming after you. And so Chain Games ended up having to delete that comment. They didn't, my understanding is they didn't delete that tweet that they'd done because they're trying to hide information. They just would have had Epic on their backsides. And so what happened with that is that I think what's critical here to understand the distinction for these different games right now that they're rolling out are not partnerships. Chain Games never had a partnership with EA Sports. It doesn't have a partnership with Epic. What they are doing is integration. This is blockchain integration so that we are moving gaming, my understanding is, onto Web3 and building on top of Ethereum. But that is the critical distinction, that there are not partnerships there. And here, let me go back and I'm going to share my screen again and why I ended up deciding to sell. And this is because, think about this. If you've got, Apex is not nearly as big as Fortnite, but I mean, it's growing and growing and growing. And so the fact that Epic's comment was, we do not want to be associated in any shape or form with betting, doing like tournaments where we're betting. Remember, Fortnite has their own Fortnite Cup, where you're winning millions of dollars. They have their whole own ecosystem. And I would imagine that Epic Games is going to roll out their own token. They're going to do their own thing, if anything, on the blockchain, and they will probably do that with a combination of PlayStation, some type of deal with PlayStation, but they're going to do their own thing. And so because they've taken this stance of that they don't want to, they're saying they don't want it to be associated with betting in any shape or form, and this is sort of essentially a form of gambling. I wonder if Apex Legends is going to follow suit with what Epic is doing. And it makes me concerned as well because Madden may then end up, will they maintain Madden, or will that, will suddenly a number of these games get taken off of Chain Games, that Chain Games will not have the permission to use them. So this, yes, they're going to develop, I see, their own games, and I know they've just got Solitaire, they've got their own thing going. But that was my main thinking of why I went into Chain Games. And so you can see right now, if we go over here, since I sold at 41 cents, right now it's at 38.24. And, if we just zoom out, you can see it's definitely, at first I thought, oh, well, there's just, when I bought in, I was excited I bought in because I thought they're consolidating. But I am concerned now with this piece of news, that now they could go through even more retracement. If we look at what happened yesterday, they had a low yesterday of 37 cents. And will they hit their all-time high again? I would imagine so. I don't think they're going to go under. I just decided that I looked at my strategy was going to be, I was going to go into it for a few months. I was going to go through the bull season with it. I was hoping it would then hit the all-time high again in 3 months or so, and just make some decent profits with it. And also because I just like what it represented for gaming. But at this point now, I just feel, for me anyway, it was too risky. And I just want you to be aware, like when you go and do some more research online. But this was an article that came out, and it says the Fortnite created some buzz. The popularity of the online battle royale shooter Fortnite is undisputed. At any given moment, there's more than 5 million gamers around the globe who are playing the game. My son plays Arena. He does that. He can't do in the competitions. You have to be 13 years old for that. But you can go. There's cash prizes and that. Fortnite has become a social platform as well, hosting concerts or organizing other events. For example, like they did their big, amazing event was the Travis Scott concert, which was incredible, and all these different gamers cover it. And then they also had last year they had the 0 Point event where Fortnite was going through the upgrade. It went down for several hours. My son came in and was freaking out because he thought that was the end of the game and he didn't know how he was going to cope. And if you saw Twitter at that point, people had meltdowns all over the world. People broke their PS4s, they broke their Xboxes, they broke TVs and remotes because Fortnite is an absolute phenomenon. So, Chain Games will integrate Fortnite in its platform, allowing PC gamers to wager Chain on the battlefield with some friends. So they're saying integrate here. They didn't say that they had a partnership. But again, it always comes down to, this is why we have to read very, very carefully what's happening when a piece of news is shared. Chain Games is best seen as a layer on top of existing games. This extra layer determines that players need to pay Chain to enter certain servers. They already offered support for Call of Duty Warfare, while they will also add Madden, NFL, FIFA, and Counter-Strike. It's important to note that Chain Games is not a gambling platform, but however, this is what Epic Games feels that they are, and that's why they're saying, we don't want to go near this. Because even though Fortnite and you have all guns and Apex, and it's meant to be, you think, for teenagers and the same with Call of Duty. But a lot of the Fortnite players, you've got 5 and 6 year olds playing Fortnite. You've got them playing on Apex as well. And Call of Duty, I remember back in the day, it's only just now that I've just let my son go and look at Call of Duty. I told him he had to watch we had him watch the movie 1917 first. I've had him watch Good Kill with Ethan Hawke so that he really understands what it means, and that when you're playing these games you can actually get recruited for the army. So with that being said, the other important point that I wanted to make there was there's kids. I remember when he was 9 years old, there were 9-year-olds playing Call of Duty, which I think is insane. And if an adult has an account and the kid can go play on it, these are things that I think Epic wants to be really careful, because Epic and EA Sports, a lot of their users are very, very young. So that again, this goes back to, it's important to note that chain games is not a gambling platform. Players need to be good to win a game, and take the chain tokens home. Without skills, they will lose matches and therefore their money. What I wonder, one of the other things that I wonder then is what is in place. What is in place then, especially on blockchain, to be able to stop kids going and putting money up and just going into the blockchain and doing this? And I haven't looked into that further, but I just wonder what type of, what's going to happen there. So this was why I decided to go and sell my chain games. In conclusion, is chain games a good project? Yes, it is absolutely innovative. I think that, there are people that, they want to be able to do tournaments. They have Twitch channels, and it adds an exciting dimension to things. The founders of chain games, you've got an advisor from Atari, from the CEO of Atari, who is an advisor for chain games. And like I said, you've got Adam Bartlam, who is CTO of TrustSwap. So it's a very, very solid team, but I just think they didn't anticipate some of the challenges that they were going to come up against dealing with these giants, these absolute giants in gaming. And I think that it's normal when innovating in an area such as blockchain, we don't quite know what's going to happen moving forward. So is chain games a good token and a project? Yes. Is it solid? Absolutely. Is by the end of the year, will it go up? I imagine so. I imagine this team will move through, they will overcome the hurdles they're experiencing right now. But for me personally, I only have so much available for my portfolio, and there are other projects that I feel that serve me better for how I want to do things. So I've moved out of chain games. You may still decide to stay in it. And I think, again, what it comes down to is what's best for you, what works best for you. And let me just say, the last thing that I will say is what I moved out of. What did I then do? What did I choose to do when I sold those tokens? Well, I am using Gate.io. And what I decided to do in the end was, let me just go over here very, very briefly. And this is the last thing that I'm going to show you about what did I choose to go out of chain games from. In the end, I moved out of chain games and I bought more Gate token, because I feel Gate token is going to do what Binance Smart Chain is doing. I will do another video on that and explain why, what my thinking is on that. I also decided to go into Venus, and I also decided to go into Travala. So I split between those three tokens from the sale of that. So let me know in the comments what you think. I am just, again, please know I still feel positive about chain games, but I felt the risk was too great, and I want to be able to, my goal as a crypto investor is to maximize my gains. And I just felt like chain games was not the best way for me to do that. And so that is what I decided. All right, let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? Do you have chain games? Are you keeping it? Are you selling it? Is it a project that you are looking at? And what are you going to do now? I want to hear from you. Let's have a conversation around it. And thank you for subscribing to the channel. I'm Joanna Garzilli. This is Crypto Angel Network, and I'm sending you lots of love.